see some tests of divisibility which we can deduce immediately from the result that if A congruent to B mod M, then f of A is congruent to f of B mod M, where f x is a polynomial with integer coefficients. If we have a number n which has these n plus 1 digits a n minus 1, a1, a0 in base 10, then we can say that n is equal to f of 10, where f x is the polynomial a n x raised to n plus a n minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 plus etc. plus a 1 x plus a naught. And now 10 is congruent to 1 mod 3 or 9. Therefore, f of 10 is congruent to f of 1 mod 3 or 9, but this is the number n is congruent to sum of f1 is a n plus a n minus 1 plus a 1 plus a naught, that is the sum of the digits of n mod 9 or mod 3. Here we are using that 3 and 9, they are divisors of 9. 9 is 10 minus 1. 9 is 10 minus 1. You can also have a test of divisibility by 11 in a similar manner. We can say that 10 is congruent to minus 1 mod 11, and therefore f of 10, that is our number n is equal to f of 10 is congruent to f of minus 1 mod 11. And what is f of minus 1? It is, it depends upon the value of n, but a n into minus 1 raised to n, here a n minus 1 into minus 1 raised to n minus 1. So, the signs are opposite. Suppose this is plus 1, this is minus 1, next is plus 1 and so on. And then you get the test of divisibility that n is divisible by 11 if and only if you take the alternate sum. So, n is divisible by 11 if and only if a n minus a n minus 1 plus a n minus 2 plus minus etc., and ultimately you will have you can go up to a naught plus a naught, and here it is x is minus 1 there. So, minus of a1 plus a naught. So, now the only thing is I have to make some change here, or let me write minus 1 raised to n, here I will write plus minus 1 raised to n minus 1 and so on, minus 1 raised to n minus 2, and then it is right. So, you can consider the alternate sum n minus 1 plus etc., go up to the end. So, if you take for example 9 to 4, so 9 minus 2 plus 4, that is 11, divisible by 11, and therefore 924 is divisible by 11. Some of the alternate sum of the digits can be used. In a similar manner, we can have tests of divisibility using more digits at a time. Use that 11 divides 99 and 99 is 10 raised to 2 minus 1. 10 raised to 2 minus 1. And you can devise a test of divisibility by 11. How do you do that? So, I have a number like 2, 3, 4, 1. This I can write as 23 into 10 raised to 2 plus 41. So, I am making these groups of 2-digit numbers. And now, this is congruent to 23 multiplied by 1 square, or this is 10 square is congruent to 1 mod 99 plus 41. So, this is mod 99 and this is congruent to or equal to, this is 4 and 664 mod 99. Now, we can take any factor of 99 like 3. 3 does not divide 64, therefore 3 does not divide this. 11 is a factor of this. 11 does not divide 64, therefore 11 does not divide this number. So, we can have test of divisibility for all divisors of this number 99. If you look at this number 924 that we considered, 924 we can write as 9 into 10 square plus 24, which is congruent to, now 10 square is congruent to 1, so 9 plus 24, that is, this is mod 99 and this is 33 mod 99. The conclusion is, look at various divisors. 3 divides 33, therefore 3 divides this. 11 divides 33, therefore 11 divides this. You get test immediately for all factors of 99. Similarly, you can take 100 plus 1, 10 square plus 1. Okay. Take divisors of 101. Now 101 is a prime number. You can have an 11 type test for the number 101. So, test of divisibility by 101. What is that? You write the number, have blocks of 2-digit numbers. Take the alternate sum, plus minus and so on. If the resulting number is divisible by 101, then the original number is divisible by 101. Okay. In a similar manner, more generally we can take 9999 k times. Okay. Make blocks of k digit numbers starting from the right. For the given number n. N is the given number. Make blocks of k digit numbers. Take the sum of these blocks of numbers. Take the sum, say m, of these blocks of k digit numbers, at most k digits actually. The leftmost one may not be k digit number. So, we have initial, like this is 2-digit number, this is only 1-digit number. So, you can say at most 2 digit here. Take the sum of these, that is the idea. So, take the sum of these k digit numbers. If that sum m is divisible by the number 9999, then the number capital N is also divisible by 99999. And the same is true for any factor of the number 999999. So you can get many tests like this which can be used for factors of numbers of the type 10 raised to k minus 1 or 10 raised to k plus 1. For 10 raised to k plus 1, you should have blocks of k digit numbers and have alternate sum plus minus like that. Okay. Just to give you another example, is let us say 4 5 0 1 2 3 0 1 2 divisible by 37. Is it divisible by 37? I can immediately have a test for 37 by noting that 37 into 3 is 111 and this is a factor of 999. 111 into 9 is 999. So 37 is a factor of this. So I consider this is a number of length 3 digits are there. So I have blocks like this of 3 digit numbers. Add these. So 450 plus 123 plus 012. So 5, then I have 8 and here I have this number 5, 585. Now is this divisible by 111? You can easily see that this is not divisible because just look at 555 which is divisible by 111. What is left is 30. 30 is not divisible by this number 37. Now 37 is a factor of 111. 30 is not divisible by 37, therefore this number is not divisible by 37. So you can have various factors of numbers of the type 10 raised to k minus 1 or 10 raised to k plus 1, and you can have tests of divisibility for all these numbers. In fact, we will see now later on Fermat's Little theorem and Euler's theorem, and from that we shall see that we can give a test of this type for any prime p. Test of divisibility by any prime p we can give in a similar manner. Okay. Now we shall do some more results about congruences. This is one application of congruences we have seen. Suppose we have a system like this. Suppose A congruent to B mod mi. Mi are moduli I equal to 1 to etc. up to k. Then these are k congruences. I can consider the single congruence for this, which is equivalent. Then A congruent to B mod the LCM of the numbers m1, m2, mk. If all these congruences hold, then this single congruence holds. And conversely, if A minus B is divisible by the LCM, then A minus B is divisible by each of the AMIs. Okay. So the proof is just by the definition of the LCM. What is given here? A minus B is divisible by m1, m2, mk. Now this is A minus B is a common multiple of m1, m2, mk. Okay. So proof is just use definition. If A congruent to B mod mi 1 less than equal to I less than equal to k, then A minus B is a common multiple of m1, m2, mk. Any common multiple of m1, m2, mk is divisible by the least common multiple. That is a property of LCM. Hence, m1, m2, mk LCM divides A minus B. So A congruent to B mod the LCM of M1 M2 Mk. LCM of M1 M2 Mk. Conversely, again you can use the property of the congruence, that A minus B suppose is divisible by M1 M2 Mk. Each Mi is a factor of the LCM. Therefore, A congruent to B mod each Mi. Conversely, if A congruent to B mod M1 M2 Mk LCM, then since Mi divides M1 M2 Mk for each I, we have A congruent to B mod Mi for each I. So these K congruences can be written in terms of just a single congruence. Many times such a simplification is very useful. Now we shall study the concept of residue. So if A congruent to B mod M, we say that B is a residue of A modulo M. B is a residue of A mod M. The standard example of a residue is the remainder. So we can say 1, 5, 3 is congruent to 3 mod 5. So 3 is a residue of 153 modulo 5, or we just say mod 5. Now residue has slightly different meaning than remainder, that we can also say that 153 is a residue of 3 mod 5. Also we can say that. The remainder is required to be small as compared to this 5 usually. So note, if B is a residue of A mod M, modulo M or mod M, then A is a residue of B mod M, because A congruent to B implies B congruent to A. And now we will study complete residue system mod M. Residue system modulo M. So what is the CRS, complete residue system? The requirements are, you have finitely many integers and they are such that they are incongruent modulo M, and every integer is congruent to one of them. These are the requirements of a complete residue system. So definition, a set of numbers, natural number, positive integers or negative also is fine. So these are integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R1, R2, Rn. These are, let me say, integers R So the set of numbers is said to form a complete residue system. Residue system mod M or modulo M in short we say, or CRS mod M. If every integer is congruent to 1 and only one of the integers is congruent to one and only one of the integers R1, R2, Rn modulo M. Modulo M. A set of numbers R1, R2, Rn, these are integers, is said to form a complete residue system modulo M if every integer is congruent to one and only one of the integers R1, R2, Rn modulo M. A standard example is the following. So, a standard CRS mod M. So, the usual remainders, they form a CRS mod M. So, 0, 1, 2 etc. up to M minus 1 form a complete residue system mod M. This is a standard example of complete residue system. Because given any integer, let us say A in Z, you can divide by M, A equal to Q times M plus R. Q is the quotient, R is the remainder. This is what we get by division algorithm, and the remainder satisfies 0 less than or equal to R less than M. So, this is a number among the numbers 0, 1, 2 etc. up to M minus 1. Moreover, we want uniqueness. Is A congruent to 2 of these numbers? That is not possible, because if A is congruent to 2 of these numbers, then these two numbers are congruent to each other mod M. These two numbers from 0 to M minus 1, they are congruent to each other mod M. Their difference is divisible by M. Now, if the difference is divisible by M, difference is less than M in absolute value. If it is divisible by M, then it has to be 0. It has to be 0. That means the two numbers from this set, they must be equal. If A is congruent to two numbers from this set, they must be equal. That is, each integer is congruent to one and only one of the numbers 0 to M minus 1. So, this is a standard complete residue system mod M. So, just note this, every integer is congruent to one of 0, 1 etc. M minus 1 by division algorithm. If A congruent to, let us say, B1 and A congruent to B2 mod M, where B1, B2 belong to the set 0, 1 etc. M minus 1, then this B1 is congruent to B2 mod M. But the difference between B1 and B2, two numbers from this set, their difference in absolute value is mod b1 minus b2, which is less than m. Now mod b1 minus b2 is less than m, and the difference is divisible by m, therefore this must be 0. Therefore, so as m divides b1 minus b2, mod of b1 minus b2 equal to 0, therefore b1 equal to b2. So there is uniqueness. So this is a standard example of a complete residue system. There are some criteria for a complete residue system. So we can have a kind of proposition. First of all, this complete residue system has m elements, and any complete residue system will have m elements, same number m. So any complete residue system mod m has m elements. Also, you have a criterion for a CRS, namely every integer is congruent to one of these members, that is one requirement, and second requirement we can say that these numbers that we take, these are incongruent with respect to each other. No two are congruent mod m. That is another requirement. So let me take this as 1. Second is R1, R2, Rm. So now we take the same number m. R1, R2, Rm is a CRS mod m if and only if one, every integer is congruent to one of R1, R2, Rm. Second, R1, R2, Rm are incongruent in pairs mod m. In pairs modulo m. Third, if you start with m numbers, then just one is sufficient, that every integer is congruent to one of them. They are m distinct numbers, but they are incongruent, that is requirement. So if you have m numbers and every integer is congruent to one of them, you can show that the second condition is satisfied. And if you start with these m numbers, and if they are incongruent mod m, you can show that every integer is congruent to one of them. That is possible. So if you start with m numbers, if you assume one of these, you can prove the other. That's a simplification which is useful in problems. So R1, R2, Rm is a CRS mod m if every integer is congruent to one of R1, R2, Rm. The number is m, that's important here. 4 R1, R2, Rm, these are integers, is a CRS mod m if any two of R1, R2, Rm are incongruent mod m. So there are two requirements, but one of them you can get rid of if you have m integers with you, n integers R1, R2, Rm. So take a complete residue system. Let R1, R2, Rn be a CRS mod m. What does that mean? By our definition, every positive integer is congruent to one and only one of these members, R1, R2, Rn. Okay, that is given to you. So call this set as S1 and take S0 to be the set of these elements 0 to m minus 1, which is the standard complete residue system. Okay. So let S1 equal to the set R1, R2, Rn and S2 be the set 0, 1, 2, etc. m minus 1. This is the CRS. So both S1, S2 are CRS. Define a map from S1 to S2. Because Ri is an integer, you can have some element, this is CRS. So there is unique element from this, which is congruent to it. So define f from S1 to S2 as follows. For Ri in S1, there is unique, say small Si in S2 such that Ri is congruent to small Si mod m. This is because S2 is CRS. Define f of Ri equal to small si. So we are having a function from S1 to S2. Now this function is on1 as well as on2, that is the point. So suppose f of R1 equal to f of, so f of Ri equal to f of Rj. Okay. Now Ri goes to Si, let us say, therefore Si equal to Sj. But Ri is congruent to Si mod m and Rj is congruent to Sj mod m. If Si is equal to Sj, then Ri will be congruent to Rj mod m. Therefore, Ri congruent to Rj mod m. Okay. Now, each element is congruent to one of them, right? Since S1 is a CRS, see Ri congruent to Ri itself and Ri is congruent to Rj. Both of them are in the same CRS, but there should be uniqueness, unique Ri. So Ri is equal to Rj. Because Ri is congruent to Ri and Ri is congruent to Rj, it is not possible that the same number is congruent to two different elements of S1. So Ri is equal to Rj. Therefore, F is 1, 1. F is 1, 1. Is F onto? So, given any element of this set S2, so given, let us say S belonging to S2, since S1 is CRS, there exists Ri in S1 such that S is congruent to Ri mod M. Once Ri is congruent to S, f of Ri is equal to S. And therefore, f is onto. Therefore, f is onto. And therefore, once we have a bijective map, the two sets S1 and S2 have the same cardinality. Okay? Therefore, n is equal to m. We assumed R1, R2, Rn is our CRS, that is S1. S2 is 0 to m minus 1, its cardinality is m. So, that means any two complete residue systems have the same cardinality, which is the number m. That proves the first proposition. Second proposition, if it is a CRS, then first thing is anyway required, every integer is congruent to one of these. So let us assume let R1, R2, Rm be a CRS mod m. Now, one is true by definition of CRS, that is every integer is congruent to one of them. Why is it that R1, R2, Rm are incongruent? So, second part, if they are congruent, actually we have done it in the first part, if Ri congruent to Rj mod m, then Ri congruent to Ri mod m and Ri congruent to Rj mod m gives Ri equal to Rj, since we have a CRS. That is uniqueness. Every integer, say Ri is an integer, it is congruent to Ri as well as Rj, but there is uniqueness, therefore Ri must be equal to Rj. This proves the second property, that R1, R2, Rm are incongruent modulo m. If they are congruent, they must be equal. Therefore, R1, R2, Rm are pairwise incongruent mod m. Conversely, you assume that suppose each integer is congruent to mod m to 1 of R1 R2 Rm, and they are pairwise incongruent. Do they form a CRS? CRS means every integer is congruent to one and only one of these numbers. So it is congruent, that is assumed. Is it congruent to 2? If an integer is congruent to, so let us suppose that integer is a is congruent to Ri and Rj mod m. Then Ri, so a is congruent to Ri, a congruent to Rj mod m. So Ri congruent to Rj mod m. But R1 R2 Rm are pairwise incongruent, therefore Ri equal to Rj. Since pairwise incongruent, so they must be equal, and therefore every integer is congruent to one and only one of the numbers R1 R2 Rm. Okay, every integer is congruent to one and only one of this, therefore R1 R2 Rm is a CRS. This is the second property. Equivalent condition for CRS is there now, that you take m integers. First thing is that every integer is congruent to one of them. Second thing is they should be pairwise incongruent. Then they form a CRS. This is a condition which is useful for testing where some m numbers are forming a CRS or not. But as I said, the third property in this proposition says that out of these 1 and 2, only one is enough, either first one or second one. So let us see that. Suppose R1 R2 Rm satisfies the first property, satisfies this first property. First property is every integer is congruent to one of R1 R2 Rm. From this you want to show that they are pairwise incongruent. From this you want to show that they are pairwise incongruent. How do you show that? Because once you have that, that will be a CRS. So basically we use the known CRS, that is 0, 1, 2, etc. up to m minus 1. That's a CRS. And we can define a function from this set to the set 0, 1, 2, etc. up to m minus 1. So let S equal to R1 R2 Rm. So let us say S1. Let S2 equal to 0, 1, etc. m minus 1. Define f from S1 to S2 by f of any Ri equal to Si, where Si, small si, is the unique element of S2 such that, capital S2 such that Ri congruent to Si mod m. This is possible because S2 is a CRS. We use S2 is a CRS. Okay, S2 is a CRS model. So you can find unique number from this. Okay. Now every integer is congruent to one of the numbers R1, R2, Rm. So suppose f of Ri equal to f of Rj. Okay. Then what happens is if Ri is some element which is congruent to, so Ri is congruent to, let us say, Si. So Ri is congruent to Si mod m, and Rj is congruent to Sj mod m. Okay. F of Ri equal to f of Rj, so Si is equal to Sj, that is given to you, and therefore Ri so is congruent to Rj. Mod m. If f of Ri is equal to f of Rj, then Ri would be congruent to Rj mod m. That's right. Maybe you can see that it is onto. Maybe that is for this part. Let me show that it is onto. So, given any, let us say S belonging to S2, there is Ri in S1 such that f of Ri is equal to S. That is because every integer is congruent to one of R1, R2, Rm. So if you take S in S2, S is congruent to one of Ri. So let us say S is congruent to some Ri mod m. Okay, S is congruent to Ri mod m. And so what is f of Ri? Ri can be congruent to only one of these numbers 0, 1, 2, etc. up to m minus 1 because they are incongruent. And so f of Ri is equal to S. Therefore, f is onto. And once f is onto, therefore f is 1, 1 also, because these two sets are of the same cardinality. There, since S1 and S2 have the same cardinality. This map is 1, 1 also. And therefore, these numbers R1, R2, Rm from S1, they are in 1, 1 correspondence with the numbers 0, 1, 2, etc. up to m minus 1. Therefore, R1, R2, Rm are in 1-1 correspondence with 0, 1, etc. up to m minus 1. Okay, and these are incongruent, therefore these are also incongruent. Hence R1, R2, Rm are incongruent mod m, as so are 0, 1, etc. m minus 1. So are 0, 1, etc. m minus 1. So basically we are using that there is one complete residue system with us. From that we are getting this result. Similarly, we can prove the next property, that if we have m integers which are pairwise incongruent, then they will form a complete residue system. So let R1, R2, Rm be m integers which are pairwise incongruent mod m. Suppose they are pairwise incongruent mod m. Then every integer should be congruent to one of them. That's what we want to prove. So they are m numbers. We want to prove that every integer is congruent to one of them, so that they will form a CRS, a complete residue system. So for this you take the standard CRS as before. So let S1 equal to R1, R2, Rm, S2 equal to our standard set 0, 1, etc. up to m minus 1, which is already a CRS. So each of these is congruent to one and only one of these. Therefore, you have function f from S1 to S2 as before. So f of Ri equal to Si from S2. Si is unique, small si is unique such that f of, so Ri is congruent to Si mod m. So define this function like this. Now f is actually f of Ri equal to f of Rj. So this is equal to Si Sa and this is equal to Sj. Now Ri is congruent to Si equal to Sj, which is congruent to Rj mod m. Thus Ri congruent to Rj mod m. Okay, but Ri, so R1, R2, Rm, they are assumed to be incongruent in pairs, pairwise incongruent. So if they are congruent, they must be equal. Therefore Ri equal to Rj. Therefore f is 1, 1. F is 1, 1. Okay, and because f is 1, 1 and the sets have the same cardinality, so S1 and S2 have the same cardinality, that is m. F is 1, 1, therefore f is onto. F is 1, 1, therefore f is onto. And so given any element from 0 to m minus 1, therefore given any, let us say S in this set 0, 1, etc. m minus 1, there exists R in S1 such that S is congruent to R mod m. S is congruent to R mod m. Now take any integer, take A in Z, therefore A congruent to R for some R in S2, further R is congruent to S for some S in S1. There exists S in S2 such that R congruent to S mod m. Therefore, A is congruent to R mod m for some R in S1. That's what you wanted, and therefore S1 is a CRS because its elements are incongruent and every integer is congruent to one of the elements of S1. Therefore, it's a complete residue system. Here we have used that for a finite set S, finite set S and another finite set, let us say T, if there is a function from S to T and S and T have the same cardinality, then F is 1, 1 if and only if F is onto. That result we have used in this. This result is no longer true if you have infinite sets, like you have Z to Z, you have a function, same set we take, okay, and we have the function A going to 2 times A. This function is 1, 1, but it is not onto, okay. You can construct onto function which is not 1, 1 easily. So these are various properties of congruences which we have seen. Equivalent conditions for CRS could be deduced, and now we shall study later on reduced residue system, and then we shall use these concepts from RRS to Fermat's Little theorem and Euler's theorem.